This House is now in session. Held on Friday, 25th of January, 2019.
I beg that those minutes be deferred.
Question is that the aforementioned minutes be deferred. All those honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. We think the ayes have it. The aforementioned meeting minutes are deferred.
Messages from Her Excellency the Governor General, petitions, papers, government notices, private members' notices, notices of questions, reports from select committees, first readings of those. First reading of the immigration. You have it on your file. You have it on your file. Sorry.
Speaker, I beg to move the first reading of the Immigration Amendment Bill 2019.
Question is that the Immigration Bill, Amendment Bill 2019, be read the first time. All those honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. We think the ayes have it.
By ministers, congratulatory and/or obituary speeches, personal explanations, motions for leave of absence, oral replies to questions, notices of motion for the adjournment of the House on matters of urgent public importance, orders of the day.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the suspension of Standing Orders 6, 16, 18, 20, 42, 5, 43, and 44 for the remainder of the day's sitting.
Question is that the aforementioned Standing Orders be suspended for the remainder of the day's sitting. All those honourable members in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it. The aforementioned Standing Orders are so hereby suspended.
Government business.
Government business is now the order of the day.
Order number 6, sir. In the name of the Honourable Minister of Home Affairs, to move the second reading of the Immigration Amendment Bill 2019.
Honourable Member for St. James North.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. The Immigration Automated Passport Control Kiosk Bill 2019, which is before this Honourable Parliament today. In fact, an amendment to the Immigration Act, represents the third amendment to the Immigration Act, which we are requesting this Parliament to make within the last 6 weeks. You would recall, of course, Mr. Speaker, as all honourable members would as well, that last month we would have brought to this Parliament and secured the approval of honourable members of the bill relating to advanced passenger information systems to enhance the border security of our country, whereby information on persons traveling to and, in fact, departing from Barbados would be supplied to the relevant authorities no less than 40 minutes before the departure of the flight. And of course, border security, we are all aware, sir, is of paramount importance in today's age as we seek to wrestle criminal activity to the ground. And where we will succeed in so doing, sir. We then brought an amendment to the Immigration Act in terms of minimizing the category of prohibited persons who legislatively could be denied entry into Barbados, something that was long overdue. As we said, sir, we're on our statute book up to last month. An immigration officer could, if they felt foolish enough to do so, could, for example, have prohibited a person with a disability, immobility, visually impaired person from traveling, and even though, of course, factually that might not happen, so the fact is that it was still on the legislative books. And this process here today, sir, is to amend the Immigration Act to bring into legislative effect the utilization of kiosks, sir, and to provide legislative recourse for the removal of or the replacement of the present-day ED forms, which we all have to sign and which everyone traveling to Barbados is given prior to arrival in Barbados, whether on the plane or on arrival at the airport, to fill out. So the basis of the ED forms that, as of now, everyone traveling to Barbados is required to fill out, complete, and hand to an immigration officer is a 2007 amendment to the regulations of the Immigration Act, statutory instrument 2007 number 28, and that, as I said, sir, is required for entry into Barbados. We know it, sir. It requires some information that, quite frankly, is absolutely unnecessary. I mean, you're a Barbadian citizen or permanent resident. The authorities, immigration authorities, can't stop you from entering. In the case, of course, you're born in Barbados, you're navel stringberry here, but yet you have to fill out, as part of that ED form, for example, where you reside. Well, that information is known, sir, or where you're going to live. I mean, why should the state be intruding into that to know where you're going to now live? Your passport number, sir, is filled out, as you know, sir, and where the passport was issued and the date it was issued, and if you're a Barbadian. All of this information, sir, is now captured and available to the immigration authorities and other relevant authorities in Barbados due to our connection with the Joint Regional Communications Center, which is a regional border security authority and which has access to this information. So therefore, this information is available to the Barbadian authorities and can be acquired, and indeed is acquired at will on any traveler to and from Barbados. And that was what the first amendment to the Immigration Act, which I spoke of just now, which was brought last month, was about. So it is redundant and repetitive to continue with these ED forms, just duplicating information, just creating space, because these ED forms, hundreds of thousands of them, sir, have to be stored somewhere, and we're trying to move towards e-government, towards paperless society and administration, and this is one of the thrusts of this administration's effort to modernize Barbados and to bring into the third decade of the 21st century an ease of doing business, not only for the citizens of Barbados and the residents of Barbados, but for those who visit our country. Because, of course, tourism is still our #1 foreign exchange earner. And with the efforts, of course, of the Honourable Member for St. James Central, the Minister of Tourism, we are already improving our tourist product in many ways. So this whole process ties into that whole context where we are making life easier for all those, whether local citizens, tourists, who happen to be in Barbados and who, in this specific case, arrive in Barbados. It is within this context, sir, that we last week brought the Town and Country Planning Amendment Act. Debate opened by, of course, the Honourable Prime Minister, and the hard work for that act grounded by the significant efforts of the Honourable Member for St. Michael South Central, who has more than proved her worth in the Cabinet and Government of Barbados, sir. It is within that context that we are working on easing the process to renew driver's licenses. The Honourable Members for Christchurch, West and St. Lucie giving ministerial leadership to that process. It is within that process, sir, that we are looking to vastly limit the time it takes to obtain police certificates of character and accident reports. Way too long at the present time, sir, and the Honourable Member in the other place, the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, who so ably spoke about this process, in fact, at my branch meeting 2 evenings ago, looking to digitalize this process and remove the current situation where you have to search through tens of thousands, I think it is about 65,000 records, paper records, to see if someone has a clean police certificate of character. And some things, sir, that, as we know, and as you, sir, as a leading criminal lawyer in this country knows, about 85% of persons require to get a job, and by the time they get the job, by the time they get the certificate, some weeks after the job gone through the EDOs in some cases, in most cases probably. This is part of that process, sir. E-government, digitalization of government, easing business, using information technology, using the technology to improve the quality and the speed of delivery of high-demand services, as page 33 of the 2018 manifesto of the Barbados Labour Party so eloquently enunciates. The practical aspect of this is that 17 kiosks were purchased by the previous administration, so we came and found them. 16 are functional at the present time. It is our intention, sir, when financial resources, as soon as financial resources allow, to get more kiosks, sir, because with our growing tourism market and arrivals and, of course, increased travels, we anticipate that the 17 that are there would not be adequate enough in the long term, sir. But yes, the previous administration brought these kiosks, but as was their norm, sir, did nothing to bring them into effect. So they were there from, I believe, 2017, sitting down at the airport, taking up space. And as usual, the government of the 10 last years did nothing about it, even though it was clear that the whole world, both developed world and developing world, was moving towards the process of automated entry on arrival in Barbados of passengers, and doing away with this tremendous paper wastage which marks the present situation in our country, which we are seeking to remove starting today by this in terms of legislation, sir. The machines, as I said, full name automated passport control kiosk, which we will call kiosk. And the process is that a passenger on arrival will approach this kiosk, would put in their passport, and a picture would be taken. You will face the kiosk, a frontal and full picture of your facial image would be taken to identify you for obvious purposes. Then the kiosk would prompt you to answer some questions, a couple questions, sir, and in real time provide answers to that. Split seconds, sir. They would have the answers and would produce 2 receipts. In fact, for the immigration purposes, 1 receipt, defined in the Act as an entry receipt. That receipt would either bear the letters PG, in other words, pass granted or permission granted, which means that entry has been granted by the passenger into the country, or X, in which case, Mr. Speaker, the passenger would be required to go to an immigration officer and be further examined to see why they have an X. Now, they may very well just have an X because of a slight defect in the system. It may very well not mean that they are someone on whom an alert has come up in terms of not being a desirable person to enter Barbados. So it may be, I think, most kiosks in the world are not 100% foolproof, and it is estimated that maybe in terms of 15% of the X's, you know, may be nothing to worry about at all. And obviously we will work towards minimizing that percentage as much as possible, realizing, of course, that this process is still new. But once you get a PG, sir, it means, as I said, that your entry is permitted. Nothing has been found on you in terms of risk or negative border security, and you go and you hand the immigration entry receipt to the immigration officer. And we want to be sure, sir, that the immigration officer now, sir, is not going to waste time and duplicate an effort that has already been carried out and undertaken by the kiosk. The immigration officer, sir, is merely to look at you, look at the photo which the kiosk has taken and which is on the entry receipt, ensure that it is the same person, and when they see PG, let the person through to enter into the baggage clearance section of the arrival area so that they could collect the baggage and then move towards customs. Immigration will understand, sir, that they aren't to waste time. The effort has already been done. The kiosk has given all the information. There's to be no searching the passport, now to look at the passport information, wasting time, sir. The reality of the situation is that For a tourist, the point of contact in Barbados at the airport is their first point of contact. And we all know that first impressions count a lot, sir. That's a fact of the matter. Some people don't get a chance to create a second impression. And a first impression of a tourist who is part of the major foreign exchange prop of Barbados, part of the major plank of the economic and consequentially social development of Barbadians, has to be the airport, is in fact the airport. And so the typical tourist coming from England, North America, England, United Kingdom still constitutes our major tourist market. I believe, 37% of our tourists annually come from United Kingdom. We know that's an 8-hour flight. After 8 hours in a plane, sir, many of us in here, including you, sir, have traveled on, 12-hour flights. It is true, 13 hours, in some cases 11 and a half, but 8 hours is still a lengthy flight. 8-hour flight from United Kingdom, the length of it may be tempered by the tourists, whether they're a first-time visitor or they've come here 70 times, like many tourists who are here right now as we speak, out of the gloomy winter of their country. But it may be tempered by the realization that they're coming to Barbados, the gem of the Caribbean, sir. But still, 8 hours is 8 hours. And after you're on a flight for 8 hours, you want to get off the flight, you want to get out the airport, you want to go on the beach, you want to go and drink some Bajan rum, you want to start enjoying your vacation. You don't want to be held up at an airport more than is necessary, sir. And this is all part of that process. Not only, though, for the tourists, sir, but for our own people as well. The kiosk, as I said, sir, scans the passport, takes the photo, prompts the passenger to respond honestly, sir, to the series of questions, verifying biographic and flight information. This is all biometrics, sir. And as I said, security, sir, has not been compromised in this process. We have ensured that the security of Barbados, especially at this time, is not being compromised by this process. So there's no need to worry about that. And once, as I said, the entry receipt produces PG, handed to the immigration officer, who verifies that the person handing him the receipt is the same person whose photo is on the receipt. The processing of the passenger's entry into Barbados is complete. So this whole process started in August last year with a pilot project run for about 3 months, just from around crop over time, of course, when we would have had an influx of visitors, until about September, October. Teething problems have been ironed out, sir, and I first want to give tremendous credit to the Honourable Prime Minister for driving this process, for insisting, sir, that we get where we are today in terms of being able to bring to Parliament a bill to legislatively bring into effect this process. Prime Minister has been adamant that this has to be done during this tourist season. We can't be left behind, sir. We have to move on. As a country, as a nation, we have had to come from virtual ground, sir, where we were basically in May last year, when this the political party of which I am a proud member took over the administration of this country, a bankrupt economy, challenges on all fronts, economically, socially, all fronts, sewerage, buses, garbage trucks, we're tackling also lack of foreign exchange, reserves, high debt. We've had to tackle all fronts, and all simultaneously, and we have not recoiled from doing so. And this is one of the areas that is of, we found, as paramount importance. The Prime Minister insisted